Hello, everybody, Yamology listeners. You are back here with Alex and myself. That's Matt, and we're going to be breaking down the Thunder versus Mavs series. That's the number one seed, youngest one seed in NBA history versus the Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving paired Dallas Mavericks. I'm joined here today with Alex today, and we're going to break down the series. So, Alex,
Yo, yo,
initial
yo, yo,
thoughts.
yo. Initial thoughts. It's going to be one of the most entertaining series out there. I think most people are more interested in Minnesota, Denver, but I feel like this is the most entertaining series, um, from like a derby perspective, because like w when you live in Germany, it's all about the derby, right? Like you have the rivalries that are where the cities are closely located to one another. And OKC Dallas is probably the closest you can get to that feeling.
I mean, Los Angeles, you got the Clippers and the Lakers, they're in the same building. Knicks and 76ers, they're closer. I'll just argue that point, no worries. But I get what you mean.
I
Like
mean,
they're
it's
very
like a
close.
3 hour drive. Like it's the closest you can get in Midwestern terms, probably. Like
Yeah.
I don't know how it goes. Like one day the NBA is also going to drop like two more teams into the NBA, and then I hope that OKC is getting into a conference with the Texan teams. I
Yeah.
think that's what it's pronounced. Yeah, uh,
So
it's going to be very fun.
this is the first time Alex has joined me with Skit today for a preview. So what we typically do done with me and Skit is we've ran through X factors, uh, a bold prediction, and then we're basically looking at maybe the top three players. Maybe in the series we can work through that. But the Dallas Mavericks came away in six against the Los Angeles Clippers, taking them to take the Oklahoma City Thunder, who have had a long rest after their sweep against the Pelicans. They're set to play Tuesday at 8:30 EST. Which Alex, will you be staying up for that game?
Probably not. It's like 3:30 in the morning for me. I'm not going to do that. I'm sorry, but I'll have to rewatch that sadly. But yeah. Uh, where do we want to start, Matt? Like with which factor do we want to start?
We can preview with something that I kind of want to iterate the skit says that I've really taken into regard with the Mavericks is the Mavericks have a very like high and low ceiling. In a lot of these Clippers and Mavs games we've seen, it's either been blowouts or blowouts the other way. There's not really been a couple close games, except maybe game two, when Luka hit a couple daggers in that series. But the Mavericks shoot a lot of threes, and they shoot them at a very varying clip. Very different to the Thunder. The Thunder shoot a very few amount of 3-point attempts, but then they have quite a high efficiency. So you could really see a lot of swing in this series. A couple games being quite high. These are two of the kind of top defenses. It's like we never expected the Mavericks defense to be this good, but it has picked up. Jason Kidd is a terrific defensive coach, and just the way they're able to use their bigs. I think one of the keys we can talk about is how do Thunder utilize and take away the lob threats that the Clippers did in their series.
Uh, it's going to be very tough for the Thunder because like you got Luka and Kyrie there. The Mavs will probably try most of the time to involve Chet in some actions. But I don't think that they're going to try to impose Chet in the post with like a Derek Lively. Maybe Daniel Gafford is going to do that once or twice. I don't know, but I don't think that's going to work. So the obvious choice would be to go after lobs, and the Mavs are very deadly at that. But I'm pretty sure the Thunder know that already. So you can either stop that by having Chet in the drop most of the time. Um, that worked pretty well for the Clippers as well from time to time. But what the Clippers also did was switch a lot, and I feel like the Thunder are more of the better switching teams in the NBA because they play positionless basketball. So uh, I thought Ivica Zubac on Luka looked much better than it did 3 years ago when the Mavs played the Clippers for the very first time. Uh, and we're not talking about Zubac here, we're talking about Chad Holmgren on Luka Doncic. So this is going to be much easier for the Thunder then. So I'd expect that Chet is going to be out way more of the pain now. and then probably someone like J-Dub or Shai has to pick up Derek Lively in the post or as a rollman basically. And then again, when we talk about Shai, Shai is one of the best entry pass deniers in the league. I'd still argue he's the best at it. So it would be many easy cookies for OKC at that point.
Yeah. The J-Dub and Shea, they have a lot of vertical space and a lot of like room, maybe in that short roll, kind of
Yeah.
breaking up lobs. It is tough. Derek Lively and Daniel Grafford have a very, very high wingspan. They're able to like finish at a very high rate. I remember Kyrie Irving at the start of the season just saying, you can just throw it up there for that guy. But we can maybe move on to some matchups. Obviously, the pick and roll is quite a heavy use. It's very heliocentric with Luka Doncic, and we're going to see how the Thunder appropriate that, who they put in that actions. But I would love to see how much we see Lugansdorf fighting over the screens. Obviously, forced a lot of offensive fouls against the New Orleans Pelicans. A lot of forced turnovers, so you can get Luka Doncic frustrated. But we can move into maybe some matchups. So I would expect to see maybe Kaysen on. I don't know if you even will start Kaysen over Giddy in this series just to
Mm.
match up with um Kyrie Irving, and then you have Blue Door on Doncic, and you probably space. You got Gafford and Lively. They're just going to be rotating minutes with Holmgren and Jalen Williams. What about the rest of the
Yeah.
matchups, Alex?
Uh, yeah, that's very interesting. Like you said, I think Ludort is probably spending most of the time on Luka. Um, I don't think Giddy's going to get as much playing time as he did in the New Orleans series, I'd guess. And then Kaysen is going to get more minutes spending on Kyrie. Then who else are they going to face? Derrick Jones Jr. I think that this would be Giddy's most appropriate matchup for most of the time. Um, okay, now Maxi Kleber is injured. He's probably not going to return for the playoffs, which probably stings a lot for Mavs fans. So you got Josh Green out there, and I'd guess that um, Shay's. Nah, I don't think Shay. I say J-Dub's going to spend most of the time on Josh Green. So that probably J-Dub is going to spend some time on Kyrie then again. And then Chet is facing Gafford and Lively, obviously most of the time. Same goes for J Will. And one that probably could get some minutes there whenever the Mavs decide that they want to be in the short role with like someone like Lively or Gafford. I'd expect that Kendrick Williams is also getting a few minutes. Throw him out there against the two and see if he can interrupt them most of the time.
Hmm. Yeah, I think we should talk about this Maxi Kleber injury because for Jason Kidd, this just makes the offense a lot less flexible. Obviously, Thunder have one of the better shooting fives, more dynamic fives in the league. With Chet Holmgren, the way he's able to space the floor, he was killing Jonas Valanciunas in that series, despite him not even shooting terrifically well from outside the arc. But not having that versatility of a shooter, maybe no pick and pop threats. You got no spacing that way. I do not trust Daniel Gafford or Derek Lively in a short role in a playoff setting, if I'm being honest, especially with the help side defenders and the deflections that the Thunder force. But it'd be interesting to see. How would you put this? It's hard to kind of match up if we were matching up the other way, but we're going to see how many cross matches we get. Like, there's a lot of slow pace with the Dallas Mavericks. They like to run to the half court. I would look for the Thunder to get out, pressure the ball, look for those steals in the gaps. But obviously, a lot of this series is dependent on the health of Luka and obviously how well he's shooting from the field.
Yeah, yeah, obviously. You saw that in the Clippers series. Like Luka Doncic was shooting atrociously from the field, and Mavs definitely got carried by Kyrie this series. Like especially in Game 5, where it felt like, no, sorry, not Game 5, but Game 4, which the Mavs actually did lose, but Kyrie just went complete nuclear with Luka having complete off game that day from 3-point land. So. it's going to be very interesting to see what the Mavs are going to do with him because whenever they involved Kyrie in the ball screen action, Clippers usually hedged, and then he was forced to force the ball out of his hands, and the Mavs then basically just didn't do any more ball screens. They just let him go 1v1, and that's how he made his points. So you have to have a very good ISO defender on Kyrie Irving so that he's not going to go nuclear again. And I guess this is probably a task you'd want Kaysen or Lou Dort to face because otherwise he's probably going to go insane again. And then otherwise you also have to look out for ball screens. Obviously, like screen navigation is a very hot topic. Um, like we've always seen that in OKC with Lou Dort. He doesn't always have the most consistent screen navigation. Like sometimes he gets stuck on screens. Sometimes he then gets offensive fouls for that, but then again, it can also cost him like space to his defensive matchup, and that's something you have to look out for. But then otherwise, I think that yeah, it's just that. Sorry, I just have brain lag right now.
Don't worry, you got your thoughts out. That's all good. It can be very excited to see if the Thunder run more of their flares in transition for Chet Holmgren while Shai brings the ball up. They've done that a lot. It's been highlighted by a couple of people, notably thinking basketball, how they like to spread the big and setting that back screen. I don't think the Thunder ran a lot of their set plays in the playoffs. I don't know if you noticed this as well. It's a lot more free. Obviously, a lot of the playoff basketball just generally does get into pick and roll. But we saw Anthony Edwards last night. They were like trapping him. So for that reason, that's why he was going to his isolation, and that man still had 44. I want to back your point. I would argue that I think there's going to be more attention on the Nuggets Timberwolves series than the Thunder Mavs series, although the MVP voting is going to come out soon. So it's obviously going to make things a lot more toxic. And obviously, whoever comes second or third between Shai and Luka, there's going to be a lot of buzz there. And Luka's a sicko, man. Don't give him any reason to go off.
Yeah, no, that's true. But I mean, on the other side, you also got Shai, who just recently became a dad. So also like dad energy going around in that game. Like, I think matchup-wise, Luka against Shai, obviously Luka is arguably the best offensive player in the league, and Shai is the best two-way player in the league. Like those are like two game stats you can't really compare to one another. Like one is much better defensively, the other has um, that touch more playmaking offensively. Like it can go either way. So it's very
I
interesting to see.
mean, I would say a touch. I think
Yeah, not
Luka
a
is
touch. Like
miles ahead of
yeah,
Shai
yeah,
as a
that's true.
playmaker.
Yeah, like he's much better. He's much better playmaking wise than Shai. Because Shai is still scoring first. Shai is more like, okay, let's see. I drive in, get into my spot, see if I'm free. If not, did I did I get any help to me? And then I'll pass to the open man. Whereas Luka is always seeing the open man and immediately passes it to him. Like he's more pass first than Shai, obviously.
Yeah. And maybe moving on to this, we can maybe list our top three players in the series. So starting, even though Luka Doncic, I'm not going off of initial playoffs so far. I'm just going through how I expect him to play. Um, Despite the fact that Luka shot 24% from three and 40.5% from the field, I still list him as probably the best player in this series. Um, Shai, it's like 1A, 1B. Shai's 1B. Um,
Yeah.
and then it's probably J-Dub for me. Uh, I'm going to say that 1A, 1B. I'm going to give myself a fourth because I'm cheating. Uh, Probably Kyrie comes in just after J-Dub. Obviously, Kyrie went off in the first round, but just the defensive versatility and that consistent scoring output that Jalen Williams is able to bring. probably ranks him above Kyrie for me. What about you, Alex?
Uh, I'd probably have to go Luka 1, Shai 2, but like you said, 1A, 1B, then Kyrie. But then yeah, like that would be my top three probably because um when you think about scoring, I think Kyrie definitely is way more well-rounded than J-Dub is right now. So yeah, he's my third player. But then again, when you go with like top five, J-Dub and Chet would be at 4 and 5 for me. So that would make the series more balanced again at that
Yeah,
point.
I think it is overall a very balanced series. I think it's gonna be a great series. Obviously it's nice to see basically the all-star starters at the guard position going against each other. And that's something we want to see. This is like real cinema. But I
Yeah,
do want to remind people this is the 1 versus the 5 seed. And I think that should be the expectation going into this. None of these teams are go down easy. But we can move on to our X factors for this series. Obviously, we've kind of mentioned role players in the past, but for the Thunder, I think Casey Wallace is a massive factor in the series, and the way he's able to, because you have two really, really good scoring threats,
yeah.
isolation and off the pick and roll threats with Kyrie and Luka Doncic. Obviously, that's the idea. Uh, I just want Casey Wallace to just stick to Kyrie like glue. Um, the way that Kyrie will just basically space out. I also think one of my X factors is more of an aspect is how Luka Doncic moves without the basketball. I think that's the next level of his like playing offensive career because he's so stationary. He's just that kid that I was coaching yesterday. It's like pass the ball and it's like they're behind the play. It's like pass back to me, pass back to me, pass back to me. So it needs a bit more adjustment in my opinion. So what's yours, Alex?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like scoring wise, Dallas has incredible power there. Like you said, Kaysen is one of the X factors for OKC. So I'll go with an X factor for Dallas, and that would be PJ Washington. I don't know how I didn't list him as a starting player. Like, obviously, he's a starter for them. Don't know how I didn't get that. But yeah, like he'll be vital for them offensively, cutting, shooting the three ball, and also defensively. He's one of the better defensive wings in the game. Like I remember on Twitter, like every Thunder fan screaming, "Oh, Pressy, please get PG Washington like he's another Kentucky dog that Shai used to play with, and he's also very good on very cheap contract." Like I get why. Like he is that good of a two-way wing player. And
Yeah.
like for his value, he's incredible. But when it comes overall to the series, I think depth is probably the deciding X factor. And now with Maxi Kleber out of the game, who shot 10 out of 18 from three, I'd say with the Thunder having Isaiah Joe, Kendrick Williams, J. Will, uh, yeah, maybe
Gordon
even Gordon
Hayward, are
Hayward.
you going to go
Yeah,
that far?
yeah,
The man
probably
that
even
took
Gordon Hayward.
zero shot attempts.
Yeah, but but I mean he still only missed like 1 3 this entire playoffs. So like he can shoot the three ball. So it's not yeah it's not that crazy for him. Like he obviously is having struggles in OKC because he's not having the role he's used to have. Um, but then again, like when you look at this Thunder team, like everyone, even like someone like Mike Muscala, theoretically could come in and step up big. Um,
Yeah.
so like the Thunder basically only have shooters on the team,
hmm And
whereas the
just when we're talking
Mavs,
about depth,
yeah,
sorry, just to cut you off, the bench. So we've got kind of Josh Green. Josh Green doesn't start, I don't think. Most
yeah,
games, I think he's coming off the bench.
yeah,
Obviously, no Maxi Kleber, as we've highlighted in detail. Um, but Dante Exum, he's not played a lot. He's had a terrific. He's played like 2 minutes in one game versus the Clippers. But their depth, like they're not even playing Jaden Hardy. They didn't really play much in the regular season either.
yeah,
It's just if you put in like Luka and Kyrie in these heavy minutes, even Gafford and it's basically going to be Gafford off, Lively back on, unless they want to try PJ Washington at the five, which could be interesting. I'd like to see that happen. Then Thunder might match up Kenrich Williams in that lineup, but we can move on to our overall predictions. And Alex, I'll let you kick us off.
Yeah. No, to overall predictions, I'd say that the one seed is going to take it. And I know that there's going to be lots of mad Mavs fans out there going to argue, oh, but we get Luka and we get Kyrie. Yeah, that's all good and stuff, but like in the playoffs, it's about who's the better team and the better coach, who is the better coach, and it comes down to the IQ things, and like looking at it that way, you have to go with OKC because, in my opinion, they are the smarter team. Like they have the smarter coach, and they have the more mature players, which is good to see because they are the youngest team to ever win a playoff series, and they are in the second round, and now they are where they are because of their maturity, and you only get as mature as that because you're so smart. So I'd say Thunder are going to win this one in 6. Let's not go too crazy.
Follow my line. Thunder in 6. Definitely a much harder team. I know for myself that Thunder loss at 5 a.m. in the morning is going to hit different. Like new lows. We haven't experienced, Thunder fans haven't experienced a loss in 3 weeks. So it's going to hit different. We've been riding high. But I think what we can remember is this is a very good team. They're coached well, they're hungry. Um, they've built a bit of experience. I don't buy into the experience thing. Um, it's always the first time to do it until someone else does. It's never been done before until someone else does it. Um, so we shall see. I would love to see them in the conference finals, and I will regularly be keeping up with the Nuggets and Timberwolves series. But yes, Thunder in 6. So we can wrap up there. And if you have any comments, let us know any questions, any predictions you want to add your predictions in as well. Make sure to subscribe, like this, and then share it with a friend who's going to share it with their friend. Thank you very much. This is Yamology. We'll catch you in the next one.
Peace out.